Okay, it's still me. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. And today, the Branch Project Whisper of Times Heritage as Narrative of Climate Change is going to present one of our outputs, which is the video dictionary. The video dictionary is something that for us has been very important, crucial, because since we are addressing heritage from many different point of views, since we want to understand the interaction between local communities and heritage in the age of climate change, we thought, and we still believe actually, that it's very important to build a new vocabulary, to try to address all the new concepts and try also to involve other scholars who have been thinking, reflecting, studying about these issues in our common conversation. In a way, the video dictionary is inspired by a very famous eco-critical scholar, Raymond Williams. Not Raymond Williams once said that we need new ideas because we need new relationships, no? And I believe that the video dictionary is going this direction, but I don't want to take too much time, and I would prefer actually to give the word to others. Maybe one thing I want to say about the video dictionary. There is a difference between a dictionary and a video dictionary. There are many differences, but there are a couple of differences that are important for me. One is that this is an open source for everyone. Everyone can use it in their classes, in teaching, or in whatever setting. So this is a very important open source for everyone working on climate change and heritage. And the other difference between a video dictionary and the dictionary is that the video dictionary, no matter how big it can be, it's somehow closed. No, you have a dictionary that is what it is. While with this video dictionary, with this multimedia product, we can actually continue enlarging, widening the video dictionary, including new concept, new ideas. So everyone is welcome to propose concept ideas that can be developed through the video dictionary. And I stop here.
Okay, thank you, Marco. So as you know, most of you are the Brand project is a project about heritage and climate change, and we decided to do this video dictionary to try to focus on how climate change is perceived and how to uh, perform and to address climate change related problems with the right words and the right concept. So as you know, climate change is often presented to us as something as a problem of extremes, as dramatic floods, devastating storms, or collapsing building. These images are real and urgent. They call for immediate action. But if we frame climate change only as a catastrophe, we miss something crucial. Its quiet and more pervasive forms that touch other parts of heritage that are not directly visible. So climate change also can arrive slowly in our lives through changing of seasons, through the shift of harvest, the fading rituals of cultural rituals, and the gradual erosion of ways of life that bind communities together. When we speak of heritage, many of us picture monuments, historic buildings, museum objects. Those are vital, as some of us in our team focus on the engineering and the structural problems related to climate change. But climate change is not affecting heritage in just in this way, because heritage is far broader than this. It is the everyday practices and knowledges that are passed down between generations, the recipes that shapes our tables, the songs and the stories that hold memory, the informal markets, the workspaces and the landscapes that sustain livelihoods. Heritage is how people lived and are living, how they made and are making meaning. So this moment calls for a new vocabulary, as Marco was saying before, to have new words and concepts that capture the variety forms of heritage. We need language that recognizes sudden loss and slow transformation, that names the fading of routines as surely as the destruction of stones. Our helpful effort to build this vocabulary is not abstract. It is a practical map for action. We want really to have this dictionary to help us to understand other words, other concepts, and to broaden our understanding of heritage. So as Josie will say in a moment, will tell us, the list of these ideas is not exhaustive. It's a first proposal of concept and that we were able to produce. First of all, because we didn't want to fix which concepts were important for climate change and heritage. What we did in order to produce an almost peer-to-peer dictionary was to reach out to those scholars all around the world that focus and work about heritage and climate change, and we asked them which were the concept that they felt to be relevant for this dictionary. So what Josie will present to you, it is the collective work of scholars all around the world that with us try to focus and analyze which concepts were relevant. As we will also remind later, this dictionary is open. So if any one of you want to participate or want to share the call for lemmas, we are open to proposals and that's it. Now Julie will give us a brief description and then we propose you a brief activity to discuss together about these concepts.
Thank you. Thank you to all who are participating. So yes, we have collected 21 lemmas so far, but as we are saying, this is not meant to be exhaustive or to be closer to be finished. But we think that starting from this, we can start having an idea of what we are collectively producing. And based on what we have received, we have organized the concepts into 3 main branches of the video dictionary. So on one side, the first, we have lemmas concepts that help us to build the framework and articulate perspectives specifically on the climate change heritage nexus that is at the core of the branch project, as well as on diverse forms of heritage and also processes of heritage making. We have lemmas concerned with living heritage and with a variety of forms of heritage that go beyond the monumental or built environment, like wetlands or heritage as food practices, working class literature, very diverse from each other, but still representing this complexity around the concept of heritage and the relationship with climate change. Then we have lemmas and concepts that expand and enrich this framework by introducing some concepts, some ideas, some food for thought for us that exceed the climate change heritage nexus in its strict dimension, but yet inform our way of interpreting it. We have collected concepts such as decolonization, care, or degrowth that add some additional layers of depth to our understanding of the heritage climate change nexus. And then we also have collected third type of lemmas and concepts, a third category that is more concerned with addressing a methodological approach. It's about methodological approaches, ranging from critical working to community-based planning and other situated research practices. I will start giving an overview of these concepts and trying to connect, and then, as we said, we will take the time to look at it. Each of you can take some minutes to, maybe you have already done that, but to go even more in depth, and then we will discuss collectively. Before starting with this exercise, so if we want to enter a bit more into the first branch, into the first set of concepts that are more concerned with framing the climate change heritage nexus, we begin with a concept, a lemma, that is exactly climate change, and we follow Hannah Morel definition, and she's offering us the idea that heritage can serve exactly as one of the interpretative lenses through which climate change becomes intelligible, which is what Samuel was saying before, and which is precisely at the heart of the branch project. So Hannah Morel helps us framing this, talking about climate change in relation to heritage, telling exactly this. And this perspective moves also us away from understanding climate change as something abstract, distant, or merely episodic, and it's situated within the dynamics of everyday life. And this resonates with another concept that the same Anna Morel is proposing, that is the notion of mitigation. In the way she frames mitigation, this invites us to consider this act looking back and having memory of those ancestral, indigenous, and historical ways of relating to the environment, not only as a form of heritage as they are, but exactly as possible ways to look at mitigation from this perspective, as a strategy for mitigation today. So ways of knowing and doing things differently, whose memory constitutes a form of heritage that can also be enacted in the present as a form of mitigation of climate change in the face exactly of climate change. So, and recalling the concept of these memories, these are framed in terms of living heritage, and we have a definition of living heritage. It is offered by Vishna Kisiks, that presents living heritage as something not fixed, but rather as a process and as something related with a more than human dimension. But the idea of thinking of living heritage not as an object but as a process resonates with another lemma of our video dictionary that this time is offered by Ugdevarin, that has contributed to the video dictionary through the definition of heritage making and connecting this practice with the practice of eco-museums. I'm sure you all know Ugdevarin. Ugdevarin is one of, let's say, the fathers of the concept of eco-museum, and he generously offered this definition, heritage making and eco-museums, placing at the core of these processes, of this action, what local communities do for constructing and producing their own heritage processes. So in Devarin words, local communities construct their own and collective, it's important to stress the collective dimension, collections, of which they are both custodians and curators. This is how he frames this act. And in a way, this also leads us to another concept that is inside our video dictionary, and that expands a bit our framework, that is the concept of care as curating and being custodians is an act related to the concept of care. And we move now to the second branch of our video dictionary, using this definition that is offered by Leus Velpaus, that reminds us care as connected with heritage making in multiple ways. But in her words, this is not this is sometimes also a conflictual process. In fact, she uses, when she refers to care, she means researching, visiting, dreaming, but also retelling, protesting, organizing, refusing, wandering, and many other acts connect with this sometimes conflictual relationship with heritage. But what she puts at the core of her definition is that in any case, the caring relation is a relation. Exactly, it's a relationship. So she stresses a lot this concept of building relationship with heritage while taking care in this variety of forms of heritage. This also moves us to other concepts in this expanded framework, using, for example, the concept of degrowth. So if we move from the assumption and accept that we live in a post-growth society, then degrowth could be a direction worth exploring. So we have a definition of degrowth connected with heritage making, and this is offered by Goran Tomska, who invites us to reflect about the fact that a degrowth perspective on heritage invites us to think beyond collecting objects inside a museum, and while degrowth heritage invite us to question the priorities that structure our contemporary societies. And these open the way to other lemmas and definition and concept that have been offered, for example, heritage as commoning, as well as the concept of decolonization and the abolition of borders that is articulated in our video dictionary by the New York Art Collective, Decolonize This Place. That is a collective that organizes around indigenous rights, Black and Palestinian struggle, the gentrification and socioeconomic injustices, and they contributed lemmas that exactly heritage as commoning or decolonization that they have developed collectively through a group intervention. Their contribution is made as a collective exactly. So they are based in New York, but they try to advance perspective that is transnational. They talk about going beyond national borders, talk about a planetary pluriversal vision of heritage that resonates with another concept that we have that is exactly pluriversal heritage, which emphasizes the needs to decenter Western perspective in both thought and practice, and to recognize instead a plurality of culture, epistemologies, and heritage that coexist and interact without any single one claiming universality. And this is offered again by Vishna Kishiks. The third branch of our video dictionary, and then I'll stop here and we can start a brief discussion. It's, as I said, more related to methodology. And when we talk about having a pluriversal concept, but also situated approaches to research, we have one definition that fits very well with this, that is community-based planning, that is very related to one of the acts that we are trying to develop with the branch project, that are the people's plan that we are trying to develop exactly, developing this approach of community-based planning, of involving people in not only discuss and frame what they think heritage is, but also how to act to take care of heritage and to advance strategies for relating with their heritage. This definition, community-based planning, has been offered by Kenneth Reardon, that is a planner that has been working a lot with community-based approaches and gives us some elements. I think I'll stop here because, of course, there is more over there. So if anyone wants to comment now or make, ask question or share a brief comments, otherwise what we thought is to take 10 minutes that everyone can use to look at one of the video or at the PDF with the abstract that has been made by Samuele and Andrea and Claudia, that we want to thank. Samuele has just shared in chat the link that allow you to access both the PDF or the YouTube channel. And if everybody agrees, we can stop for 10 minutes and meet each other again at exactly in 10 minutes to continue our discussion and to do a practical activity to share impression about the video dictionary, unless someone wants to say something now.
Okay, thanks, Josie. I think we can go on with this proposal. Let's say that maybe we can meet up at 3:35, so a little less than 10 minutes, so we can then go on with the activity. See you in some minutes.
So we will now continue trying to share some impressions, perspectives, comments on what we think about the first concepts collected through the video dictionary. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Mentimeters, but it's very simple to use. I will put the link in the chat. Okay, I saw that someone has already put the link. You can open this link and you should be able to find the first question. I will also share my screen. And I see that someone is starting also answering. So, okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I think
Okay.
at least I can see it. I think everyone can see it.
Okay. Are you all connected through the link that Samuel has shared with the Mentimeters? Okay. Or just in case, if you have troubles or if you want to do that with your mobile phone, you can do using the QR code. So the first question is, which lemmas did you find particularly compelling for exploring the relationship between heritage and climate change, and for what reasons? We can take some time to write. I see that there are just a couple of answers, two answers, but please take your time. We'll take 5 minutes to collect some answers. Okay, while everybody finishes, I'll start reading some and we can comment. So we have people have appreciate degrowth because help us reflect on how society assign value to heritage, define what is discarded or maintained. This concept of degrowth is also appears also in another comment. The museums are historical, voracious institutions that consider themselves limitless. The theme of degrowth has greatly interested me, trying to include it in the museum field and museology training. I think that's very interesting for reflecting about what that means to accumulate objects and to reflect about collections. Then we have care. Care help us consider heritage as something to take care of and to take care through, as an active agent of solidarity and community rather than a passive element as family to be defended from climate change. Then we have food habits, climate change, and cultural heritage. I can see it through working with students, bringing the everyday into relation. Better with non-UK students where food heritage risk and ethnicized implication. That's an interesting comment we can reflect on. Then someone has given a comment on climate mitigation and heritage in the Anthropocene, but also a bit critical about the concept of commoning and politics. I believe that those could be more generous in addressing climate change. Then we have pluriversal heritage that helps to think about more than human understanding of values and relevant heritage, undertaking nature as a co-producer of life and not just as a passive resource collector. And then critical walking, so something on the methodological dimension, very interesting because it allows us to find another way to study what there is around us, but in a natural way with perception. So I think a couple of definitions have interested you. If we don't want to add any, I mean, if you want to add something, just raise your hand and we can discuss. Is there a comment to this set of definitions? Someone want to add something more? Otherwise, we can move to the next question. So I will move the slide and you should be able to see now another question to answer. And that's very important for us. Are there any lemmas that you think are missing and why? This is important because, as we said, we would like to expand this video dictionary. So please help us to think creatively about lemmas that you think are important, that we are missing, that we really need to integrate into the video dictionary. So I'll stop for other 5 minutes. We take the time to write, and then in 5 minutes, we comment this. Okay, so we have collected some perspectivism. I think it's very important, and Yeah, and I think it's also connected with indigenous heritage in terms of, and it complements with our understanding of pluriversal heritage. So I think these are important knowledge, language, also climate justice. Then we have climate resilience, or something that connects more with the links the engineering side with social systems. So yes, we can come out with something that connects more these two disciplinary fields. Heritage vulnerability, shaped by inequality. Not all communities have equal resources to protect or transmit their heritage. Marginalized groups face greater climate risk and have less support. I think that's also more very important for our framework. Storytelling more on the methodological side. Then we have questions, we want more specific effects or secondary effects. Flood risk per se is not due to climate change, but increasing frequency or increased risk might be. So something more related to the risk aspect. And local knowledge, ethnobotany, disaster ruins, tourism, archive, library, fires. So I think we have quite a lot to continue with. So what we would like you to ask is to propose or to suggest us someone who can actually offer this definition for the video dictionary. So please, if you want to be the ones who offer this definition, or if you have anyone that you think we could invite and offer this definition, please send us an email and we will continue expanding. I will stop sharing. And I think we can move toward the end. Okay.
Thank Josie. So just to conclude this this webinar, as I'll take the suggestion from Manuelina, and I will briefly show you the PDF that we are. Let's see if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? So the PDF.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you can download this PDF from the links that we shared with you, and we can also find out the deliverable pages of our website. And we think that, of course, also if we try to use video dictionaries in order to broaden also concepts with people that are not used maybe to read all the time as scholars and people that works in the university, but we think that this let's say short list of abstracts could be very useful for people in this in our, let's say, domain of in our work space, let's say. So we just remind you to use this one, and also before leaving, we just remind you that we have the next meetings. So our next meeting will be both of the next meetings in May, and both in May and June will be held by people from our network. So there are people that are active somehow in the Levitan Heritage platform that we launched last month, and we will be having Dharani Davamani from India, but actually based in Canada, that will present us some insights from an Indian case study about heritage in the Anthropocene. And in June, we'll meet with Mirko Christov from Bulgaria, and they will present us some work that they are doing with their collective that broadens from heritage to climate change and to other artistical activities. So I think that for now it's everything. So again, thank you for being here, for participating in this webinar. We hope to see you also in the next meetings. And nothing. Thank you very much. I will